Yes, we're in a very different world than we were after not only World War II, but after the end of the Cold War in the early 1990s, where the U.S. And the West were so predominant. We now are in a multipolar world in which we have the rise of China as a major force, which has a very different set of values and interests than the US and the West. We have a situation in which Russia feels aggrieved. Putin wants to do everything he can to restore the influence the former Soviet Union had. You have emerging powers in Brazil and India, which want their day in the sun. And so you don't have this neat East versus West conflict that we had during the Cold War. And in order to succeed, the U.S. has to be deeply engaged. The worst thing we can do, and there's a real risk of that happening today, is be isolationist. I mean, if there's any lesson of what caused World War II, it was the isolationism between World War I and World War II. If we're not involved and engaged in promoting democratic and free market values, then that vacuum is going to be filled by the Russias and by the Chinas and by countries that have very different sets of interests and values. And in order for that to happen, we also need something that Secretary of State Blinken, one of the 130 people I interviewed for this book, made clear, and that is, in order for the U.S. to have the kind of influence it needs to reach diplomatic agreements, to create a better world, to create a better world order, we have to be more united at home. We have to be more competitive economically. We have to end this horrible polarization that we have, in which we treat our political opponents as if they were foreign enemies. We also have to be reliable, and I mentioned several instances in which we were unreliable.